Good morning. Professor João Redondo, Chancellor of Universidade of Lusiada, Dr. Marco Teixeira, Head of Program of the UNODC in Mozambique, Professor José Gonzalez, Director of the Law Faculty, Professor Manuel Porto, I don't know you are hearing, Director of CEJEA, Center for Legal, Economic and Environmental Studies, Professor Margarida Salema de Oliveira Martins, speakers and attendants, ladies and gentlemen. The Anti-Corruption International Congress is open, and the general theme that we will be discussing it is shaping an anti-corruption environment, education and partnerships to create a positive impact. First of all, on behalf of Universidade de Lusiada, I welcome all speakers and participants in the Congress. On the other hand, I would like to congratulate the CEJEA, Center for Legal, Economic and Environmental Studies, for this very important initiative. Thanking in a very special way the organizers, Professor Margarida Salema de Oliveira Martins and Professor Marisa de Almeida Araújo, for all the efforts made, and there were many, to make this Congress possible, doing it within the scope of the development of the scientific research project entitled An Ethical Culture and of Anti-Corruption, Law, Dialogue, Action and Education. I'm also very grateful for the support given by the UNODC, United Nations Office on Drug and Crime, through its office in Mozambique. Dr. Marco Teixeira, thank you very much. I still highlight the funding received from FCT, Fundação para a Ciência e Tecnologia. As I had the opportunity to mention, this is a highly relevant scientific event, and this for several reasons. First of all, because of the importance of the general theme that will be addressed in it, which calls us to consider the need to promote urgently an anti-corruption environment in order to defend the rule of law, human rights, justice, and democracy. And in this respect, science and education play a major role. Furthermore, the relevance of this Congress results from having the participation of a wide range of speakers, national and foreign, who are deeply knowledgeable about the topic and the issues that will be addressed in it. My deep thanks to all the speakers for their willingness to participate in this event, contributing to its success. Thank you very much. I conclude by wishing that this Congress will make an effective contribution to the development and dissemination of an anti-corruption environment. And I hope that all those who participate in this Congress can take full advantage of it. I'm sure that it will be so because all the conditions for that are created. So have a good Congress and thank you. Thank you.
Distinguished Rector, I would say that Dr. Marco Teixeira would follow.
Good morning to all. Magnificent Dean of Lusiada University, Professor Afonso de Oliveira Martins, Professor João Redondo, and especially Professor José Gonzalez. After 25 years for being my professor, I'm very grateful to be in the same table as you, which means that there are two consequences. Both of us are older, and the second one, which is for me more reassuring, I actually understood and benefit from your lessons. So that's why I'm here today. In a more serious note also, Exim Professor Manuel Lopes, Porto, Director of the Center of Juridic Studies, Economic and Environment from the Lusiada University, Professor Margarida Salema de Oliveira Martins, dear speakers, and facilitators, moderators, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to be with you today to open this important and timely, I would say, dialogue during the International Congress, and also an inspiring title, Shaping an Anti-Corruption Environment, Education and Partnerships to Create a Positive Impact. My intervention will focus on three main words: youth empowerment and engagement, partnerships, and higher education and universities. This is the three main elements of my intervention. On behalf of United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, I would like to appreciate the invitation to attend the present event. Noting that never like today, we needed to educate the future generator on issues related to the rule of law, social justice, and the widely recognized to promote rule of law, the aspects linked with anti-corruption. Only by that, having this mutual reinforcement aspect, we can actually achieve sustainable development. Partnerships are a key part of United Nations approach and the framework of the Sustainable Development Goals that have a dedicated goal and targets to partnership, which is the SDG 17. That reveals the importance of working together, and I want to highlight that only by doing that, we can shape a better world, and also we can, and this is the spirit of working at United Nations. Also, I think this is the title and the spirit of the title of shaping, obviously, a better world. Partnerships building is critical to advance the implementation of SDG 4, quality education, and SDG 16, that is basically related with the rule of law. Our United Nations Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, articulated his inspiring vision, and I quote his words: "We live in a complex world. The United Nations cannot succeed alone. Partnerships must continue to be at the heart of our strategy. We should have the humility to acknowledge the essential role of other partners, and while maintaining a full awareness of our unique convening power as United Nations." And I think, Mr. Dean, I think this is the spirit of this event, and that's why we are very pleased to be here. I would like also to mention the partnership with University Lusiada. It's not new for United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. It's part, I would say, of a joint journey that started to promote education for rule of law in several joint events that we have organized. And I would say it's a good example of fruitful partnership. Magnificent Dean of University of Lusiada, Professor Afonso de Oliveira Martins, allow me to mention in particularly the engagement, energy, and dedication to build this partnership of Professor Marisa Almeida Araújo that has demonstrated in past years the true spirit of building a partnership. UNODC appreciates very much that commitment that reveals the true essence of robusting a partnership that is built for success, I would say. Also a special word to Professor Margarida Salema de Oliveira Martins for the reception, also the partnership. More than ever, promoting rule of law education based in social values continues to be a critical importance to build a new generation of global citizens. Higher education institutions represent a unique value in stimulating creative and critical thinking that will for sure consolidate principles and values that can underpin a better citizenship and society. Without quality education on issues related with social justice, peace, anti-corruption, inclusion, and rule of law, a prosperous and peaceful society will be for sure not only more than a dream. In fact, UNODC, as a custodian of several of UN multilateral instruments, either the Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime, the 3 associated protocols, the 3 drug conventions, and of course, specifically the Convention Against Corruption. We consider essential to upscale the discussions in specific dimensions, namely the one linked with the overall items on the agenda. It's in our perspective only based on solid ethical values that our societies can be less vulnerable and even less tolerant to corruption practices, and will for sure allow the societies to fulfill the social contract that citizens expect. Let me give you some metrics on how it's essential to provide a platform for discussions. According to a study of 2020, among 4,500 young adults from 20 countries, 85% of them were concerned about global challenges affecting their future and feel responsible to take an action against them. However, half of them, those young adults, felt they don't have the instruments, the tools, and the skills to take an action. And therefore, it's time to empower youth And naturally, higher education and universities have a role to empower and provide the tools for the young generation to take an action. As you know, rule of law is fundamental on all aspects of society, forging relationships of mutual accountability, reliability, and building public trust. Education is a catalytic factor that can strengthen this trust, and education has an important role in promoting the rule of law and culture of lawfulness. That is an environment in which rule of law is understood, respected, and upheld. Based on that, as an international education community is facing the post-COVID-19 crisis, partnerships are crucial to design inclusive solutions and jointly build back better. And of course, from our perspective, we will continue to work on building the gap between education and justice, aiming to empower youth and young adults to understand and exercise their rights, their critical thinking, to make sound ethical judgments, and for sure, uphold justice and obviously promote fair societies. Let us try together to foster engagement for peaceful, just, inclusive, ethical, and sustainable societies. Moreover, engaging youth as a critical factor to uphold rule of law requires the elaboration of innovative activities and the involvement of all educational stakeholders. I am a firm believer of the transformative power of education and the important role of youth, not only as beneficiary, but also as a partners to build together a better society. Higher education have a critical role to play and promote this platform. I look forward to hear the discussions of the upcoming 2 days. I wish you all fruitful discussions and of course, our appreciation to University of Lusiada for providing a platform for this critical thinking together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now maybe the floor would be given to Professor Manuel Porto. He's online. He was online.
Are you hearing me? Is okay? Is it okay?
It is, Professor.
You are
Yes.
hearing me? Okay.
Okay.
Okay. You are hearing me now? Fine. Is it okay? Are you hearing me?
Yes, that's okay. Please.
Okay, fine. So again, I address again so Professor Afonso Oliveira Martins, Rector University, Professor João Redondo, Chancellor, Dr. Marco Teixeira, Dr. José Gonzalez, and a special word to Professor Margarida Salema Oliveira Martins and Marisa Araújo, also other people that have helped, of course, but for this initiative. I'm going to say some words on behalf, I'm honored for that, of CEJEA, but these 2 days, today and tomorrow, are great days for Universidade Lusiada and of course for CEJEA. I shall not add very much, but I'd like to stress 2 or 3 points if I can. One of them is the following. So this problem of corruption is a problem which puts in great values, as it is stressed in the goals, so human rights, rule of law, and so on, but also in total center will be stressed, also efficiency. I mean, a society with corruption cannot be an efficient society. So, and you must take care of that because in fact you are in an increasingly difficult world in which you must compete. And the second word, now you are in a world of globalization. It is my view. My research has been for decades on this topic. What I teach, in particular University of Lusiada in Lisbon and Porto, is defending in favor of opening markets. But of course, this opening of markets creates more possibilities of corruption. So together with the openness of the economies, with very good results, it is very clear, it is my view, that with openness we have much better results, but of course there are more dangers, in particular more dangers of corruption. So we must go on, not to avoid, not to protect, not to close the borders. It would be a mistake. We should go on opening borders, even now with the COVID and even with the war, the awful war, you should go on in this way. But at the same time, we must give more and more steps towards fighting corruption. I think that with globalization, this is my view, we should go on with more decentralization. I think it is my view that with the closer approximation of citizens of the centers of decision, you can control better corruption than with centralized systems. But this is my view. I know it is not view of other people. In any case, I think that it is a wonderful program. I should say one or 2 points more. When is the participation of people from different countries and different continents? So I think it is an enrichment for all point of views. In the case of political parties, all parties are there, so participating. And so it is a very good initiative, which I'm sure today and tomorrow will give important contributions in this great challenge of humanity, which is the challenge of corruption. So again, congratulations to whom took the initiative, Professors Salema and Marisa Araújo, to the University of Lusiada in the name of the Rector. And so I am happy, I'm proud of being the Director of CEJEA. It is an honor and it is a privilege, a benefit. In this case, I shall follow as much as I can because I shall benefit with this initiative, which is being now. Thank you very much and the greatest congratulations.
Good morning to you all, distinguished Rector of the Lusiada University, Honorable President of the Board of Minerva Foundation, Dr. João Redondo, Professor João Redondo, Honorable Director of the Faculty of Lopes, Professor José Gonzalez, Honorable Head of Program of UNODC in Mozambique, Dr. Marco Teixeira, Honorable Director of CEJEA, Professor Manuel Porto, dear teachers, speakers, students, and attendants. Sorry, I will take just a few minutes to make the introductory explanation of the goals of our Congress here today. First of all, I wish to thank the Minerva Foundation, the Lusiada University, the UNODC, and the FCT for having supported this major scientific event in very many ways, from financial assistance to technical logistics and staff resources. We are gathered here today and tomorrow for 2 days, one in Lisbon and the other in Porto, both presentially and online, both speaking in English and in Portuguese, in 8 different panels with 42 speakers. This big step we are doing now translates one stage, and not a minor one, of a research project entitled An Ethical Culture of Anti-Corruption, Law, Dialogue, Action, and Education within our Research Center of Legal, Economic, and Environmental Studies, the so-called in Portuguese, CEJEA. Being the coordinator of this project, belonging to the group of public law and political theory, and also transnational public law, with a team of junior and senior researchers, with master degree students, and also with PhDs degree students, we tried to bring to this Congress their contributions. Although it was not possible to bring them all because of the number and the variety of teams involved. Our idea of contributing to a global, multilateral, and multidisciplinary critical thinking to achieve what I call a sustainable development regarding an anti-corruption scientific and cultural environment. It's not only the physical environment that we are talking about, we are talking about an anti-corruptive cultural, scientific, moral environment. Of course, looking at these items, we see many different scientific perspectives. We will try in this Congress to start with human rights and the issue of how corruption can be faced by international law on human rights, namely, and we have here some representatives of women human rights. So we will go through these issues in panel 1. Then we move to the issue of integrity in public-private sector, including diplomatic and consular laws in the perspective of the law enforcement authorities. We would call it law in action in panel 2. Then we move to a rule of law as one of the pillars of the sovereign state and also of the European Union, as we all know, and in a perspective of constitutional European Union law, also constitutional international law, and its application. We deal with this in panel 3. Then we proceed to the role of the political parties and the parliamentary groups and their function as legislators and also as political supervisors. This will be dealt in panel 4. These 4 panels will happen here in Lisbon, but our colleagues in Porto are also attending through virtual schemes. Tomorrow we will have other 4 panels, beginning with the so-called hard law, which deals with crime prevention and criminal justice, according to the perspective of real criminal law, heavy criminal law, which will be dealt in panel 5. Then we look at the transnational aspect on a view from academics coming from different countries and NGOs and international organizations or intergovernmental organizations such as the UN and others in panel 6. Then we will address the issue of building sustainability standards, also in an external perspective in panel 7. And then finally, we will have the panel on building strategies with a view of representative of a very important, well-known intergovernmental associations, like the view of journalists and other stakeholders. Having said this, and not wanting to extend my first intervention very much, and as we are looking forward that our students come in now at 10 o'clock, I will stress the following point. We will have here hard and intensive work, which represents this idea of our center, of our research center, of promoting studies, debates, critical assessment, not in a closed academic field, but generally with civil society and stakeholders in this multinational view that the UN brings us and asks us to fulfill and to promote. So I would say that I do thank very much to all our guest speakers for their contribution. All our work here today and tomorrow will be recorded and will be later published in a scientific research review of the Lusiada University. Last but not least, I would thank, of course, Doutora Marisa Araújo for all her efforts, without which this event would not be possible. So I extend my appreciation and my deep appreciation to all the staff of the University, of the Lusiada University, who also has contributed a lot to all the logistical and virtual part of the Congress. So, of course, I'm speaking on my own behalf to my own project, but you will forgive me if I say that I wish, of course, all success for this initiative. And I hope, addressing now to the assistants that will come in parts, I will hope that they find it interesting, and also that they will see it as a sign for us to participate and to build, as Dr. Marco Teixeira just said, a better world. In the context we are living in, we have really to participate. We cannot stay at home. And please do participate, and I hope this initiative will contribute to that. And I will finish, distinguished rector, we would finish our introductory remarks for the time present. Thank you.
And then the opening session of the Congress is closed.